I was diagnosed with HS back in 2015. I was suffering with it long before then, but we just didn't know what it was. And in 2019, I was also diagnosed with psoriatic arthritis. And so we found Cosentyx, which treats both, and was just recently approved by the FDA for HS.
So what were a few of your most noticeable symptoms?
Really big, red bumps, all over my body, especially in sweaty areas, armpits, groin area, and it was really painful. It was where your skin rubs, your legs rub together.
Yeah.
And then I get hot flashes, and it, that's about it.
So let's just define HS. What does HS stand for?
I don't know how to pronounce it.
Okay, well just do your best.
Hidradenitis Suppurativa.
Okay, that was perfect. Okay, so this is so important to me as a physician's office because she is a patient that is having to navigate this stuff, which is really, really difficult, really painful by herself.
Well,
so what is she supposed to do?
Were you given the wrong diagnosis? Did you go to a
yes.
dermatologist?
Back in 2006, I went to an ER to get an abscess drained because I didn't know what it was. And they said that it was a staph infection, which they drained it and packed it, and they said, we'll give you an antibiotic. And I went home, and that didn't really help, and I kept getting the spots, and nobody really knew what it was. So
Oh, that's hard too because you're going to the doctor and you're like, listen, I keep getting these welts. What is it? And they're like, staph infection.
But what a struggle that you've had to walk through this. So tell us about the community that you're in with the HS.
The community, I'm on Facebook. I'm in a lot of groups. There's people from all over the world that struggle with HS, and they talk about different doctors that they go to, and they get misdiagnosed, and they don't know what kind of medicine to take for it. And sometimes even the doctors, they're not even sure what to give people. So,
well, it's not a very, because I had to do a little bit of research on it because it's not a very commonly given diagnosis. It's just recently kind of started to get some traction. So with the Facebook groups, did you seek them out? Did you create the Facebook group?
I didn't create it, but I joined it, and it had over 60,000 members already whenever I first joined.
And would you say joining the community kind of made you feel less isolated?
Yes, there's a lot of people on there sharing tips. They're warm compress, things like that really offer a lot of relief.
And so was Dr. Bach the first person that diagnosed you with HS?
No, he wasn't. Back in 2015, I actually went to, I think it was still a pediatrician, and she said that I had HS, but I never really got treatment for it because, like I said, I didn't know what it was, and she didn't really know much about it either. And so back in 2019, I came here, and Dr. Bach was like, I know what that is.
Well, we were actually talking to the manufacturer, and we were explaining how you've benefited so much from their drug, and I think it was one of our leads. She was like, it's just now becoming something that's getting out there.
So when Dr. Bach started you on the psoriatic arthritis treatment, in the back of his mind, he's like, hey, Cosentyx is going to help with this, but it'll for sure help for psoriatic arthritis. So he started you on Cosentyx IV. How many treatments have you had?
With the Cosentyx, I've had my starter dose, which was at-home injections, and then I've had 3 infusions too. Before that, I was on Simpia Aria for my PSA, just until we found something that would treat both.
Yeah. So once, when you were in here for your last infusion, that's when you really had seen the positive results?
Yes, I noticed a huge difference because I wasn't able to get it for a while. I had a couple health issues, and then when I came back and I got it again, it was more noticeable, the change. I feel a lot more energy, and then I don't have any more spots. So
that's amazing.
It's really awesome.
It's so empowering to go from kind of a hopeless situation
Yeah.
and being like sort of passed around. I mean, when you talk about being diagnosed in 2015, I mean, this is 9 years later.
Exactly.
And you probably get self-conscious about the welts too if
Yes.
you're not able to tell people what it is.
It's
and you're
embarrassing, and people look at you like, what is that?
Well, and I saw whenever I was reading up on it, it was like, it's not contagious. You're
Exactly.
not going to get it. It's not a, sexually transmitted disease, which a lot of people will confuse it with because, you can get the lumps in your groin area, and it's just a very underdiagnosed
Yes.
diagnosis.
Right. Well, after you were here for your last treatment, Dr. Bach asked me to reach out to the clinical science liaison at Novartis, who is in charge of the Cosentex brand, IV and sub-Q, and she told me, and this was like, what, 2 or 3 weeks ago that you got your last dose?
Yes.
She told me that the FDA just got approval for the subcutaneous version 2 weeks prior to that. So it's kind of like everybody is now, this is getting ready to like go to the masses.
Yes, I'm so excited. I was telling everyone in the group about it, and everyone is pumped to finally have some relief.
So what would you say are some of the telltale signs that you would say line up with HS?
Yes. The telltale signs,
Like
let's
the welts.
redness, a
Yeah.
lot of redness, drainage, and then you get what are like deep tunnels underneath that kind of connect together, and then really large blackheads as well.
Ugh, I mean, what relief that you've got a treatment for this now. And it's amazing to see your smiling face, and we so appreciate that you're willing to share your story with others, because if someone would have shared this story with you,
Maybe it would have been quicker that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's just a really remarkable situation.
It takes a lot of confidence, honestly, and I think this is amazing because you're going to be letting other people know what to look out for. It's an underdiagnosed disease, so they'll be going to their doctor like, is it possible I could have this? Like, I'm lining up with a lot of the same symptoms that she had. Would I benefit?
Yes, and it's like you go so long without a diagnosis. It's amazing to just feel like someone understands.
Well, and you're almost confident in your diagnosis.
No, she
in a way.
is.
Like, she sits here and you sit proudly. Like, you lift your chest up and you smile when you start talking about it, which I think is amazing because even with some of our, very, very common rheumatoid arthritis, patients, they're very ashamed of the diagnosis. And it's like, you got to stand in your truth. That's something Julie's told me since I started. You stand in your truth and you're going to be changing people's lives. So
Yes.
it's not only in a way for you to kind of be like, I'm not going to let this hold me back, but you're also going to let other people kind of come to their truth also, which I think is incredible.
Thank you.
Well, and the thing about these diagnoses with autoimmune and issues like this, this is the inside of your body coming out and saying, there's something wrong here. This is not anything you did wrong. This is not anything that you had any control over. Okay? But you have taken this and said, I'm going to fix this.
Yes, you kind of get rid of the shame about it. I feel like everyone is so ashamed to admit that they have a problem, and it's like, I'm hurting and I need help, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
There's not, and I love that. I'm hurting and I need help. Don't be scared to ask for help.
Yeah.
That was beautiful.
For sure. I mean, that's what we do is we take patients that have really been kind of ignored and sidelined, and Dr. Bach says, what do I need to do to get this patient better?
Yes.
And then we go to work and say, what do we need to do to convince your dumb insurance company that this gets better?
Right.
That's where the work comes. However, it's stories like this that make a difference. It makes a difference for you, it makes a difference for the community, and it makes a difference because we can tell this story and your insurance company will be like,
He tried to deny that
Interesting.
treatment.
Yeah.
Yes. I think it's so awesome that my insurance was willing to work with me to get it approved.
Have you ran into any problems with your insurance?
No, I haven't had too much trouble, luckily.
No, that's knock on wood. I don't know
Yes,
whether
there's
is
no
any,
wood in here for
but-
that reason, exactly. Awesome. Okay, so what is next for you in your advocacy in your community?
Well, I can't wait to share my story in my Facebook group to try to reach more people, and hopefully they can get some diagnosis themselves.
Yeah.
And are you finding it's more global, or have you been able to connect with local people too?
It's very global, but people will just ask, like, where are you guys from, like, to see if geographical location has anything to do with it, because we don't know much about it still.
Like, to see if the demographics line up.
And in your community, are they mostly being treated by rheumatologists or by a different doctor?
Rheumatologists and dermatologists usually work together.
Okay, awesome. This is like just an amazing win. It's a win for her, it's a win for the community, and this is why we come to work every day, to have patient success stories and to see her smile.
Right.
Yeah,
The
and live her best life.
Because a lot of the time, getting into a doctor's office, whenever you know you're going to get a very scary diagnosis, that in itself is a halt for a lot of people. You know, just the thought of getting a scary diagnosis, and then here you are sitting in your truth, smiling, like, listen, I want everyone to know I'm diagnosed with HS and I'm not ashamed, and there's treatment that can help you feel better.
Yes.
So I admire your confidence, because that's super amazing.
Well, I thank you guys for making me feel so comfortable that I was able to communicate my issues with the doctor.
How did you end up coming to Dr. Bach?
Well, I went to my primary care and I was having arthritis issues in my back, and she said to me, well, you need to go see Dr. Bach because Dr. Bach has the best office. He's the nicest doctor.
He is the nicest doctor. I'm the mean one. No, it's okay. You know what? Dr. Bach has been doing this a long time, and he is super, super interested in, if a primary care doctor calls him and says this patient needs to be seen, that patient's in here.
Yes.
So I'm hoping that you can also convince your community to keep squeaking. The squeaky wheel gets oiled. They need to advocate for themselves. They need to call the rheumatologist's office. Primary cares are so busy and so overwhelmed too. That's why we take a lot of self-referral patients as well. So
so
we
if
do.
anyone in your
Well, that's
community needs a rheumatologist.
Actually, we have had a patient fly here from Norway and continue to fly here for treatment from Dr. Bach because she can't access care somewhere else. I mean, I know that's kind of a dramatic option, but there are options that maybe Dr. Bach can do, you know, telehealth for some of your colleagues.
Oh, wow.
You know, now that they're obviously not going to get the IV version because he can't write orders just anywhere that he's not on staff at, but he could certainly help them and maybe even get them on the sub-Q version.
Well, that's great that you guys have so many different options.
We do. We really do.
We like to bring hope. Call us Tinkerbell. It's Dr. Bach's Peter Pan, I guess.
Yes, he is. Anything else that we want to say?
No, I think this has been really incredible. Thank you so much for allowing us to show you on our social media and show the hope that you're giving everyone in your community, because I think that in itself is...
Carrying the message is so important because we need other people to know you can get better. And you're doing it. You're winning.
With a smile.
Well, thank you for having me and letting me tell my story.
Of course. All right, so...
Hi, I'm Katie. I'm a patient at Dr. Bach's office. I'm diagnosed with HS, which is Hidradenitis Suppurativa, and I'm also diagnosed with psoriatic arthritis. And my treatment is Cosentyx and IV, and it works really well for me. It's helped clear up all of my spots, so I'm really excited.
She's a huge success story. She was originally diagnosed in 2015. That would be 9 years ago for those in the back. And it wasn't until Dr. Bach saw her in 2019. And we tried some different medicines, but now she's on Cosentyx IV, which is getting her treatment for her psoriatic arthritis and her HS. So Cosentyx sub-Q, which is an injection that the patient does at home, that was just FDA cleared within the last couple of weeks for HS, but she is having such amazing results with the dual diagnosis that she wants to share with the community, in the HS community, that there is hope and she's living her best life.
What would you say is the biggest, difference you can notice?
The biggest difference is in my confidence. I'm not worried about people looking at me and being like, what's wrong with her? And then I'm also really excited to be able to be an advocate in my community.
We love an advocate.
We love an advocate because, but for her story, other people will suffer for 9 years, 10 years, whatever it is. This is what we do here is we sell hope, and once we get the right medicine for the right patient, we keep it going.
And so I'm really glad it's made a huge change in my life being on this medicine.
And we're awesome for you.
Yeah, and because she has struggled so much with this, she's in a Facebook community that is global, and she pulled us aside after her, third treatment or second treatment of Cosentyx IV, and she's like, I am clear. I have no more welts, which is something you haven't been able to say since...
Oh my gosh, since 2006 or before then.
2006.
Almost 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
It's called Hidradenitis Suppurativa Support Group. So very basic name, but it's really helpful. Everyone offers like home remedies for relief, and we talk about different medications that work for us.
Amazing.
Yeah, so that's a little shout out for that. How many people are in the community approximately?
Let's check. 82.8K members.
Wow.
So it is way more people than you would think.
Can you open that screen and let her show it so that people can look at your Facebook group and maybe here, Claudia, you do it. That's the Facebook group that she's on that that connects these patients with HS so that they can help each other. Like, I always think it's so interesting that if you have a common goal with people, the trust is there. The trust is there.
Advocating.
Yes.
How did you hear about the Facebook group?
I looked it up online. I like to join the support groups because I have like anxiety and stuff like that. So I started joining groups like that, and I realized, well, if I can join for those health issues, I can join for other health issues too. And so I found a lot of tips on there.
Amazing.
Great. Well, we are so excited for the success and for having cleared up your HS. Now we have to maintain it because we don't ever want to go backwards.
I agree.
And this is how you do that. You do this helping one patient at a time and having such amazing success that she feels empowered and wants to help others because she's already walked that walk, and it's a walk you don't want to walk.
The banner on the group, it says, "You are not alone," and I just thought that was really cute. Katie.
So Katie's here, she's one of our patients, and she's actually really excited because we finally found a treatment that she's benefiting from. Do you kind of want to tell people what you were diagnosed with?